I never believed in the feeling of being watched until the night it followed me for 6 straight hours and didn't stop when the sun came up. It started on a highway I don't remember the name of because every sign looked wrong and every mile marker felt reused like I'd passed it before. I was driving alone past midnight, heading west with nothing but empty road ahead and trees pressing in on both sides so tight they swallowed my headlights before the light could settle. The radio kept losing signal and cutting to static, and every time it did I felt this pressure in my chest like I'd missed a word I was supposed to hear. I tried to laugh it off at first because that's what you do when the night starts playing tricks on you, but the laughter sounded thin even to my own ears and died fast. I hadn't seen another car in over an hour when I noticed headlights behind me far back, just hovering at the edge of the mirror. They weren't gaining and they weren't falling away. Just there, perfectly centered. I slowed a little, and they slowed too. I sped up and they matched it. That was when I realized I couldn't see the shape of the car, just the lights floating like they weren't attached to anything solid. I told myself it was distance and darkness and my eyes messing with me, but the longer I watched, the less sense it made. No engine noise, no glare. Just 2 pale dots following me through the woods. I drove another 10 minutes like that, gripping the wheel until my hands hurt, and then suddenly the lights were gone. Not faded. Gone. The mirror showed only road and trees again. I remember whispering thank you, even though I didn't know who I was talking to. That was when my phone buzzed in the cup holder. No service bars. No notifications should have come through. But the screen lit up anyway. One message. From an unknown number. It just said, "Keep driving." I didn't answer. I didn't even pick the phone up. I stared at it like it might bite me and then tossed it into the passenger seat face down. My heart was pounding so hard I could hear it over the tires. I told myself it was a prank, or a delayed message, or coincidence stacked on coincidence, but my body didn't buy it. My body knew something else was on that road with me, even if my brain refused to give it a shape. The gas light came on maybe 15 minutes later, and I almost cried from relief when I saw the glow of a station up ahead. It looked old and wrong, like it had been there since before the road was paved, but it was lit, and that was enough. I pulled in too fast and skidded a little on gravel that shouldn't have been there. The place was dead quiet. No cars, no hum. Just one pump flickering in a building with a single window lit from inside. I stepped out, and the air felt thick like breathing through cloth. The woods were closer here, pressed right up to the edges of the lot, and they felt crowded with something I couldn't see. The bell over the door rang when I went in, and the man behind the counter looked up slowly like he'd been waiting for the sound. He was older with a face that didn't move much when he smiled, and eyes that didn't blink enough. He watched me too closely as I paid like he was memorizing me. I asked him if the road ahead was clear, and he said yes without hesitation, and then added, "You don't want to stop out here again." I asked him what he meant, and he said nothing, just stared until the silence stretched too long and my skin started to crawl. When I went back outside, I felt it again, that pressure between my shoulders like fingers resting there. I didn't turn around. I pumped gas with my eyes on the trees because I was afraid if I looked behind me, I'd see the headlights again, or worse, I'd see what was holding them. My phone buzzed again in my pocket this time, like it was heavier than before. I didn't check it. I finished as fast as I could and got back in the car. As I pulled away, I glanced in the mirror and saw the man standing in the doorway watching me leave. He didn't wave. He didn't move. He just watched until the station lights vanished behind a curve, and then the road swallowed me again. A mile later, the radio turned on by itself. No music, just breathing, slow and wet and close like someone leaning in too far. I slammed it off and screamed, and my voice sounded small in the car. I don't know how long I drove after that. Time felt wrong, like it was stretching and folding back on itself. The trees started thinning and then thickening again, like the road was looping. I passed the same broken fence twice, I'm sure of it. The phone buzzed again. This time I looked. The message said you missed the turn. I checked the GPS, and it showed nothing but a blank grid like the map had been erased. My location dot pulsed once and vanished. The road narrowed, until it felt like I was driving down a hallway made of trees. The headlights barely reached the curve ahead, and every shadow looked like it was leaning toward me. I started hearing things then, not clear sounds, but the suggestion of them like whispers just out of range and something moving in the leaves at the exact speed of my car. When I slowed, it slowed. When I stopped, it stopped. That's when the road ended at a motel that shouldn't have existed. One story. Long. Lights on in every room. Vacancy sign buzzing. No other cars. I sat there with the engine running, telling myself not to get out, but my hands were shaking and I knew I couldn't keep driving blind. I took a room key from a woman at the desk, who never looked up and wrote my name without asking me for it. When I opened the door, the room smelled like old carpet and cold air. The curtains were open. The window faced the woods. I locked the door and sat on the bed listening. The silence wasn't empty. It was full. I could feel it pressing against the walls. My phone buzzed one more time. The message just said, "Don't sleep." I threw the phone into the bathroom and shut the door. I lay there fully dressed, staring at the ceiling while the light outside flickered like something was passing in front of it again and again. Sometime in the night, I heard footsteps outside my door, slow, careful. They stopped right in front of me, and I held my breath until my chest burned. A whisper slid under the door low and close to the floor like it was meant for me alone. It sounded like my own voice saying my name. I don't remember opening the door. I remember standing in the parking lot barefoot with the woods in front of me and the motel dark behind me like it had never been lit at all. The trees opened into a path I hadn't seen before, and I knew without knowing how that this was the turn I'd missed. I knew if I walked down it, I'd understand everything and never be afraid again. I took one step and felt hands at my back guiding me forward, gentle and patient. Somewhere far away, a car engine started. Headlights cut through the trees. Someone was calling my name, but it sounded wrong, stretched and broken like it had traveled too far to reach me. I woke up on the side of the highway at dawn with my car idling and the door open and my phone dead beside me. There was no motel, no gas station, just road and trees and a feeling that something had let me go because it wasn't finished. Sometimes at night, my phone lights up on its own with no number and no message, just the screen glowing, waiting for me to look. I don't drive that road anymore, but sometimes when I'm lying awake, I can feel that pressure between my shoulders again, and I know somewhere out there the headlights are still following at the exact distance where I can't quite see what they're attached to.